Welcome back to r/JustNoHOA, where people share stories about their crazy homeowner associations that make us feel better about not living in an HOA. And in case you are new around here, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel to join our awesome community. Without any further ado, let's dive right into the stories. And the first story is once again posted on r/Ripe Stories from user DragonRider1964, so in case you haven't seen the previous HOA stories from that person, then please check out yesterday's video. This one is titled Gotta Love HOAs Update. So many people have been asking questions about Gotta Love HOAs, so I will try to explain. Again, this is in Florida, I am on mobile, so excuse any format issues. In the late 1800s, my great-grandfather purchased 3,000 acres of land in Florida, built a home and started farming. This was handed down to my grandfather, who continued farming the land but turned more toward livestock. When my father received ownership, he mostly raised livestock in small numbers but did use fields for hay, which he had baled and sold to other farms. When my brother, sister and I were being raised, we had savings accounts set up so we could go to college. I went into military service and was medically discharged after an injury made it unwise to continue with a military career. Afterwards, I went to law school, and after passing the bar, I joined a legal team specializing in medical laws. The development company originally purchased multiple lots of land across the 2-lane road from my family's farm and continued purchasing whenever they could. When my father suddenly passed away, I was already in negotiations to purchase an adjoining lot of 850 acres to use for my horses. After my siblings received ownership of their parts of the land, they sold it to the development company. Now, my siblings had negotiated with me to keep the land in the family, however, since I had just purchased their 850-acre lot, I did not have the funds to buy the land back from them. The development company that built the area completely surrounds the family farm, and when the development company transferred everything to the HOA, they made it sound like I was going to sell all my land to the development company and it would then be built up, rezoned and transferred to the HOA. Funny, I never agreed to this. HOAs can be good or can be bad. When the development company left, the rules were simple. Lawns must be maintained and neat as viewed from public areas, trash cans cannot be left visible except on day of trash pickup, all homes must conform to approved paint and trim colors, and any fences must be pre-approved before being installed. This was done to assist the developer keep property values up and allow them to sell homes for maximum profit. When the HOA took control, a board of directors needed to be created, and like in many situations, the first to offer to fill the roles were allowed to do so, regardless of the fact that no one really knows anything about the position. HOAs need to register with the local jurisdiction in order to operate and set/collect dues and fines, and all HOAs must follow certain guidelines as set by state and local jurisdictions. My family's home is quite a distance back from the roadway and had a large stand of trees, which makes it almost impossible to see the home from the roadway. And the driveway was almost half a mile long and was a simple dirt track which I maintained. When I built the wall around my property, I needed to file for permits with the county since the wall was to be 6 feet high and go all the way around my property. The permit would need approval from emergency services and local utility providers. The HOA requires that all grass in the complex must be Bermuda grass from sod and be provided by a particular supplier in order to keep up the image. The strip I planted along my fence was also Bermuda grass but from a different supplier, and while it looked good to me, it was not acceptable to the HOA. The HOA also took issue with the lights I had installed along the wall, which were simple low wattage, low output decorative lights, not floodlights or street type lights, and the security cameras were only looking onto my property or along the property line. No camera was pointed toward the HOA complex or neighboring properties. When the wall was built, my wife chose sand and the color so that it could be easily maintained and would be neutral and unobtrusive. The HOA repainted it a light seafoam green. They claimed that this section is sea-themed. The HOA's board of directors was expecting me to pay for everything they wanted and were upset that in the end they had to pay the bill twice. Now the board of directors are voted in for 4-year terms, and this board was voted in 2 years ago. There are no term limits. Also, since I'm not a member of the HOA, I'm not allowed to attend meetings or vote in HOA elections. Yet I have been summoned to appear at meetings to explain my continued violations. And while I would like to build a firing range, I have a lot of issues to weigh before I do. And guys, if you enjoy the r/JustNoHOA stories, please don't forget to post some star emojis in the comments and also like the video if you wish to support me. Thank you so much in advance, your support really means the world to me. And the next one is the next update in the Dragon Rider HOA saga. This will be a follow-up to the Gotta Love HOAs for an incident that occurred over Christmas 2020. The HOA that surrounds my family farmland has a low decorative wall along the public roadway. For Christmas they put up white Christmas lights that don't blink. My wife purchased some high-tech Christmas lights and put them up on our wall only along the roadway. And they were also non-blinking white lights. The HOA seemed happy and we heard nothing from them about our lights. Until Christmas Eve. Just as the sun went down, my wife turned on the Christmas lights and adjusted the remote controller, and to even my surprise the lights switched from simple non-blinking white lights and became multicolored, reds, blues, greens, yellows and whites, and they were blinking. Oh, how this set the HOA off. By 9 PM, the HOA president started calling and demanding we take down our lights and put the white lights back up, to keep the image of the road the same. These calls continued every hour or half hour until after midnight, when I simply turned off the phone. Wife did put it back to all white non-blinking lights in the morning on Christmas Day, but she is enjoying switching the colored blue lights on for an hour each night. How big the fine will be for this is not yet known, but thankfully we are still not part of this HOA. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and hope everyone has a safe, prosperous 2021. Gotta Love HOA's December 28 update. Today the HOA had their lawyer serve me with papers to cease and desist all unapproved activities. This was delivered to my attorney's office at 1 PM. Since my family and I are not part of the HOA, we have no unapproved activities. I am in communication with a few homeowners that are in the HOA that feel the board of directors is not operating with the best interests of the residents. My real estate attorney is setting up a meeting. HOA holiday shenanigans posted by user DragonRider1964 once again. Now onto what happened on New Year's Eve. Hopefully everyone has popcorn made. After everything that my family has been through with the neighboring HOA since 2016, my wife and love of my life has taken it upon herself to antagonize the HOA's board of directors. For starters, my family's farm is 1,850 acres and is along a dog-legged road. The HOA surrounds my farm and the farm is under no obligations to join or conform to the HOA. Now, the HOA has a 4 feet high wall along the public roadway, and these walls are painted white and have been decorated with non-flashing white lights and some no-frills garland. The HOA completely surrounds our farm. They are to our right and left, they are behind us, and all the land across the road is HOA controlled. Well guys, talk about being surrounded by the enemy. My wife has had a lot of time due to the virus, so she studied up and ordered a large amount of high-tech Christmas lights, which she used to decorate the 6 feet high wall on our property only along the roadway, and she had them on as non-blinking white lights. Until on Christmas Eve, the lights she installed started blinking and changing colors. They would blink fast and then slow. The HOA president was not amused. He began calling my phone multiple times per hour from 9 PM until midnight, when I turned my phone off. Christmas morning, my wife returned the lights to non-blinking white lights only. Except for about an hour each night, the light would magically change colors and flash. I was quietly informed by several residents of the HOA that a meeting was held at the president's house to deal with our lights. New Year's Eve, my wife sent the kids to visit friends and she went to work. I didn't know how many lights she had. Prior to New Year's she had lights strung on our wall facing toward the house. Now she moved everything over the wall onto the street side. Further, she added lights onto the decorative gate we have across the driveway. There was some boxes brought out and placed behind the wall. Oh, and she relocated several pieces of farm equipment right behind the wall, along with pallets, trailers and the pickup trucks. What is she doing, I wondered. So darkness sets in, the HOA's white lights come on and my wife keeps ours off. 8 PM, there are neighbors walking along the road and across the road along the HOA's wall. They are just waiting to see what will happen. 9 PM, I get a call from the HOA president asking what we are doing and telling me how unsafe it is to have so many people gathered along the road. At 10 PM, my wife has still not turned on the lights. However, at 10:15 PM she goes out with the ATV and stops along the wall in a couple places, and at about 10:30 PM the non-blinking white lights come on. Until 11:30 PM the lights slowly fade to black, taking about 5 minutes. As the countdown to midnight starts, the lights flash on and off. At midnight a massive light show takes place. Now there is lights that seem to run the entire wall. Picture a wave at a sporting event, but along the road the most spectacular show takes place. She has been working for days to get all this done. And yes, there were some fireworks, but not as many as most would like. Now, at the time I was not aware that my wife had everything linked to Christmas and New Year's music, which could be heard if you tuned into a particular FM station, and my wife has even added some messages praising the HOA and saying how none of this show would have been possible without the HOA's support. There was so much more. The gate to our driveway opened and closed by itself, and lights came on flashing away on the gates and archway overhead. Several trees were decorated with lights, inflatables started popping up, Santa, his sleigh and reindeer, Frosty the Snowman, elves everywhere, Father Time appeared near the driveway, an 8 feet high Grinch inflates facing the HOA's main entrance. And my phone started ringing. I wonder who that can be. Mr. HOA president said he was calling police to report us, and yes he did. Now my wife is smart, she researched that what she could do and what she could not do. And she stayed within the law, and she had informed law enforcement of her plans and to expect the HOA president to call. And for safety, a deputy had driven past our home several times during the evening. At about 1:45 AM, every light she put up started flashing in so many colors faster and faster. These lights flashed until at 2 AM everything went dark. And after 5 minutes, the non-blinking white lights slowly faded back on, and they stayed on like that until sunrise. I found out that the final message in the FM site was my wife's voice telling everyone listening to thank the HOA for this wonderful show. I love my wife and her craziness. I so wish I had thought about doing all this. I will update if there's any reaction from the HOA, but due to our last legal dealing, the HOA is ordered to have no contact with us. My real estate attorney will likely laugh herself silly over this. We shall see. Here's hoping everyone has a safe and prosperous 2021. And wow guys, even though this is not in the revenge category, I would definitely say this could easily be categorized as one of the best petty revenge stories I have read in a long time. And the next one is also from r/JustNoHOA, and it is titled Towed the Car and the U-Haul Trailer. This happened to friends of ours just yesterday/today. They are moving from their state to a bordering state. They were renting a house in a nice neighborhood which, you guessed it, has an HOA. But they closed on a home in their home state, and today was moving day. Being newlyweds with one baby, they just needed a U-Haul trailer and their SUV to move everything. They got it completely loaded last night and planned to hit the road first thing this morning. Imagine their surprise and horror when they woke up this morning to find that their car and the trailer attached to it were no longer parked outside. All of their earthly possessions were inside it, so they thought that it had somehow been stolen, caused significant anxiety. Not to fear, though, the HOA had rather helpfully left a letter explaining that, as they violated the rule against vehicles being parked on the street, it had been towed and could be recovered from a nearby impound lot for $500 plus the $100 towing fee. There was nothing to do in the moment but shell out and drive to their new house. I immediately advised them to seek legal counsel, as the landlord should have been contacted before any action was taken against renters. They had no past violations, were not warned, and at any rate had been loading the trailer and car all day out on the street, during which time an HOA rep could have come and said, "Hey, be sure you don't leave this parked on the street." But no. They deliberately chose to wait until 12:30 AM to call a tow truck and screw over a young family at the last possible second before they left the neighborhood forever. F HOAs and everyone on them who enforces stupid, petty rules. And the next one from r/JustNoHOA is titled F the HOA, but mostly F people. I have lived in several HOAs with varying opinions about each of them. In general, I believe in the HOA concept, but the problem lies primarily with the people associated with HOAs. I've been a homeowner as well as an elected board member, and I can tell you the toxicity runs both ways. I now live in an urban high-rise condo building, which is a whole other beast. In this setting, actions can have profound impact on other neighbors. Anything which affects the integrity of the structure becomes the interest of the HOA and of all the residents. Water leaks are an excellent example. Not surprisingly, remodeling must be approved by the board. This is done to ensure that city work permits and inspections are performed. Nonetheless, the vast majority of remodeling working being done is performed without board approval and outside of established standards. Most of the time, the homeowners will just start the work and the HOA will ask for the permits as soon as it becomes aware of the work being performed. This is where the fireworks start: threatening emails to board members, threatening emails to other owners, threatening legal actions, grandstanding announcements during board meetings, refusal to submit deposits or sign contracts, entitlement all around. Somehow, these owners believe that they are more special than anyone else and throw tantrums when they are held to the standards. For all of you who have posted about the overreach of board members and their power-hungry ways, I believe you. There's a board member who walks around the property multiple times a day, reporting all of the variances they find. A great example, there are newer pickup trucks in our garage which are very large. So large that they are not in compliance with the documents written in 2008. She wanted to see them fined daily rather than find a solution for the length of newer trucks. She also likes to watch the security cameras and has downloaded huge chunks of video for review at home. Just an awful person. Having watched her actions for the past 2 years, it is clear that she's not acting in good faith for the community as a whole, but is instead making decisions which are important to her and a few of her friends. In conclusion, I propose that the title of this subreddit be updated to F people in HOAs. And guys, unfortunately, we have already reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's stories, and if you haven't already, please also go to patreon.com/ripeyoutube, where I upload exclusive Reddit videos starting at just $3 a month. This is a great way to support me in case you are interested, and the chance for me to become independent from YouTube revenue. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe and like the video, and I hope to see you again tomorrow.